What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Hope you guys are all doing fantastic. I'm talking about why you can't play faster. So this is without a doubt one of the biggest questions as a teacher that I get asked about, and I've noticed a few things over the years and I thought I'd put it in a video and see what you guys think about it. So if you want tabs for all the stuff I'm about to go over, that link is down below in the description. You can also check out my free guitar course, the Fretboard Decoder, which is probably a little bit more in depth and stuff than what we're going to cover here, but you might dig it as well. And if you're wondering about my tones in this particular video, I am playing my good old Les Paul KM into the orange Rockaverb into the 2 notes. I always forget to tell you guys my tone, but Les Paul, orange, 2 notes. Boom. So why can't you get faster? Well, I'm going to tell you right now before we even start the lesson that what I found with a lot of people is that they're not working on speed in enough different ways. You know, there's the sheer mechanical side of it, but there's a lot of different areas that really go into speed. So that's what these exercises are geared towards. And I'd like to know if you find these helpful and if you kind of have some of those aha moments where you're just like, oh, you know what? I wasn't working on that. And I'm telling you, these things all greatly impact how fast you can play on guitar. So the first thing we have to do is figure out what kind of guitar player are you? And I've noticed something over the years that everyone favors one of these options, and I'm about to show you. And this is just going to teach us to play off of our strengths first, build that up, and then we can work on maybe other facets of our playing that are a little bit weaker. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a very simple lick, and you're going to find out whether you prefer to pick it all, alternate picking, economy picking, maybe you want all hammer-ons and pull-offs, or maybe you like a combination, which is my personal favorite. So here's the lick. It's very simple, and I want you to just play it and not really pay attention to your hand, and then we're going to evaluate it here in a second. So the lick is very simple. It's out of A minor pentatonic. I'm just going to go 5 to 7 on the D to the G. Very simple pentatonic lick. Now, what I want you to do is, like I said, just play it and see what happens with your hand. Because I've noticed, like I said, throughout the years, I would watch, students' hands, and I'd be like, oh, that's funny, you're economy picking. And they're like, well, what's economy picking? And I break it down, like, oh, I was just doing that naturally. So you do things differently. So let me lay out the options for you, and I want you to figure out which one feels the most comfortable for you. Now, if you were to alternate pick this lick, you would start by going simply down, up on both strings. So which to me is the most aggressive sound of the options. Now, if you were to economy pick something like this, you would actually start with an up. So you would go up, down, up, and once you cycle it, you end up going up, down, up, down, up, which is a more, economy style of motion. So we're gonna go like this. Very similar in sound to the alternate picking. I feel like alternate picking has more of an accent to it, but that's just dependent on the player, of course. I'm more of an alternate picker than anything else. Now the other option is maybe you prefer hammer-ons and pull-offs. So you're gonna go 5-7 hammer-on, 5-7 hammer-on. Again, a different sound. And then the final option is a personal preference, and there's some different ways you could do it, but I'm gonna show you the way that I do it, is I like a combination of picked and hammered-on. To me, it gives you the most dynamic sound that you can kind of get out of this. So we're gonna go, I'm not sure why I pause, like dynamic random pause. I would go like this. I'd pick 5 and 7, and I'd pick 5, and I'd hammer on to 7. So hear that jump, that one note really jumps out at you because of the extra time of that hammer on. I can really dig in. Maybe I want to do a pinch harmonic or something. I can just accentuate that note a whole lot more. Accentuate. There we go. That's the word. I just prefer the dynamic range of that lick. But figure out which one works the best for you, and then we're going to talk about how to essentially turn this into building speed. So now that you've figured out which one of those is the best one working for you, here is how you actually build speed with stuff like this. And this is a proven 100% of the time that I've done this with students, it has worked. But it just requires a lot of dedication from you, the player, to practice this stuff. So what you want to do is you got to get a metronome. But the first thing, before you even use your metronome, is get this lick up to what I call your natural speed. Whatever kind of speed you can play it at comfortably without any mistakes. So if I can sit here and go... Okay, I can do that, you know, for however long my hands would last, basically, at that speed. So it's still pretty quick, and it's comfortable for me. So I need to figure out what that speed is on a metronome. So let me pull up my metronome. I probably should have had this already pulled up, but so I'm gonna guess. I'm a rock guy, so it's probably 120. That's probably a little bit quicker than this. We'll just say it's 120, and then you need to figure out you're doing quarter, eighth, 16th notes, whatever you're doing. So whatever one you're gonna do, you have to figure that out yourself. The trick here is to slowly increase the metronome. So get it to where you can play it at this comfortable speed. And what you want to do is slowly increase it. You know, maybe like go to 123, which isn't gonna feel any different really. And as the week goes on, each day, start at 120 and then just bump it up a little bit, you know? So maybe in your practice session, do 5 minutes of 120, 5 minutes of 123, 5 minutes of 125. And each day, add an extra little section onto this. And I'm telling you, before you know it, 120 was your maximum comfortable speed. You're gonna be at 130. You're gonna be at 140. You're gonna, you're just gonna like be smoking on through this stuff. Now, that is kind of, to me, how you use a metronome to build the speed. And I notice a lot of people don't do that. And the metronome, to me, is extremely crucial if you're trying to get that technical side, the speed side of it down. The metronome is so important to that side of it. So let's talk about a few other examples that are, to me, just as important as the metronome side, but often get left out. Okay, so the next one, and like I said, you want to do all of these with a metronome. Now, this one can be kind of tricky because, before we were doing a 4-note sequence. Pentatonics are real easy for you working with a metronome. Now, essentially, we're working with a 6-note sequence. We're going to be going. And again, I'll show you how I'm picking it. You can either pick it all, economy it, all hammer-ons, or the combination that I'm doing. So the way that I'm playing this is I'm just simply going 4, 5, 7 on the D, which is all picked, down, up, down. Now I go to 4 on the G. Yeah, I'm hitting that with an up. And I go to 4, which is an up pick, and then I hammer on 5, 7. So I go. That's just the way I prefer to do stuff like this. And I'd move it through the scale. Up, do it on 2 strings, whatever you want. Very like 80s style of doing this lick. But now the whole reason this is, like I said, because you want to get used to this 6-note kind of feel. And you want all your notes to be even. You don't want to be going. That's a huge thing. And it's all about practicing this stuff in as many different ways as you can, approach it. So we have that going on now with this 6-note sequence. Bust out your metronome. Same thing we did with the other exercise. Start using your metronome with this one and see how that kind of pans out. Because now we're not only crossing strings, but we're using 3 fingers for one. Timing is very different, and it's a 6-note sequence instead of a 4-note sequence. So we're adding a lot more variety to, potentially our speed vocabulary. All right, now next, what we're gonna do is this. I think there's an exercise that I tabbed out that I'm actually not gonna cover because I think it'd be kind of like reiterating too much stuff. But this one that I do want to cover is very, very crucial because so much of our time is spent working on these exercises that have multiple notes on each string. So basically, it gives our right hand a lot of time to change strings. Look at everything we've done. There's never been a single string with 1 note on it. That one had, 3 notes. They've all had a lot of extra notes on them. So this challenge is 3 simple chords moving through different inversions, but it's all about 1 note per string. And you'll find your right hand all of a sudden is like, whoa, what are we doing? It's different. And I'm going to challenge you to alternate pick this. And if you want to, I'll show you the way I would normally pick it, but I want you to try it both ways. But essentially, here's your exercise. Okay, so let's talk about this one. Now, if you notice, I was not alternate picking, but I will show you the way that I was just doing it and a way to do it alternate picking, of course. Now, basically, first thing you gotta do is you gotta learn all these chord shapes that we're doing. So we're starting down here, and we're just doing an A major, which is 2 starting on the D. So all these will be on the D, G, and B. So it's 2 on the D, G, B. Now we move to a D major, and we're gonna go 4 on the D, 2 on the G, and then 3 on the B. Okay, now take this shape and move it up 2 frets. We have an E. This is our whole chord progression. A, D, E. So we're gonna go 6, 4, 5. Okay, let me get a little more distortion. Let me get a little more volume. Next, we're gonna go back to A, which is gonna go 7, 6, 5. So this is just good practice in general for moving through these chords. Now the next one is barring the strings, 7 on the D, G, and B. And then 9. Now here we're back to that same shape we were doing before. This is another A major. So we went A, D, E, A, D, E, A, D, E. So another A is going to go 11 on the D. Then you're going to go to 9 on the G, 10 on the B. Okay, so now the D chord here is going to go, it's kind of like this F shape. You're going to go 12 on the D, 11, and then 10. Okay, shift that up 2 frets to an E, 14, 13, 12. Now we're actually starting over here just an octave higher. So 14 across the strings. Then we're gonna go, so that's your A, back to another D here, which is gonna be 16, 14, 15. Okay, slide it up 2 frets. Then you're back at the beginning, which would be 19, 18, 17. And I'm just ending on an A note. So there you go. Very good exercise for this stuff. Now, like I said, there's 2 ways to pick it. The way I naturally would pick it is I would pick down, down, up. So kind of like an economy style sweep pick thing. That's what feels the most natural to me. But I will also practice it alternate picking, because alternate picking, where you're changing strings like this, is a huge challenge. It's really, really good practice. Sorry. Nope, still don't have volume. And the volume's just gone. There we go. Sorry, my volume knobs don't work on this guitar very well. So again, down, up, down, 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 down, up, down. Oh. I lost it there for a second. But such good practice. Wait until your hand does it. Your hand's just gonna be like, what are you making me do? So work on that stuff. Those single string ideas are arpeggiating stuff. Now notice that I was picking my fingers up with each note. I wasn't, fretting them like this. I might have when I was showing you the chords, but when I'm picking them, they're palm muted and I'm playing each note individually. So this is a huge right hand exercise, but also this hand, we're playing a lot of diagonal shapes versus these more, vertical and horizontal lines that we're used to playing when we're, basically just running scales. So this is such a crucial development to building up your speed, because we're working on other things that aren't just that, sheer play through the scale real fast kind of concept. This is, working on a lot of different areas. Now the final one I'm going to show you, like I said, I believe example number 3, I'm just leaving in the tabs, but I didn't really cover it. It's just an extra link if you want to check it out. But the final one, example number, it'll be 5 on the tabs, 4 here in the video, is this idea of covering a lot of ground, working on position shifting for your speed. Because like I said, a lot of times these speed building exercises are very stationary. And once we kind of start moving around, our hands are just kind of like, well, what are you doing? This isn't what I practiced. So we're going to be going like this. So essentially when we play this, we're just outlining a G add 9 chord. Now, how do you play that exactly? Well, it's essentially just octaves through a G major scale. But like I said, I'm adding that 9th or the 2nd in there to give it a little bit more flavor than just going, the boring kind of scale way. So I'm going to go 3, 5, 7 on the low E string. And then I go right to 5. So that's our root, root, 2nd, 3rd, 5th. Do an octave, so I go start on the D string, 5, 7, 9, and then 7. So, and then 8, 10, 12, and then 8 on the B. 10 on the high string. So 8, 10, 12, 10, there we go. can do whatever you want with that one. But then work on descending those. And this is a really good challenge because you're leading with your middle finger now. So again, figure out if you want to, whatever your style of picking is, work on that. Don't try to force yourself into other stuff. Build off your strengths first, and then you can incorporate some of the other stuff. But don't discourage yourself by trying to, by not being the best at any of them, and just kind of being okay at all of them. Homies, that is going to be it. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like I said, get the tabs down below. And other than that, we gotta go. Bye guys, have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you later. Whoop.